Hello everyone, this is Kurta giving you a shoutcast in a game between AT and DarkForce. Excuse me, wow. Yeah, now you know that I do cast these live and I try not to re-record them. AT and DarkForce versus AT and Socke here on Lost Temple. So here we have Socke spawning as the light blue Protoss player or teal Protoss player versus DarkForce as the yellow Zerg. Yellow Zerg spawning at the 3 o'clock position, that is DarkForce AT and Socke spawning as the blue Protoss here at the 8 o'clock position. Cross spawns, which should help out DarkForce significantly, as he will be able to set up a hatchery much earlier. With that production tab up now, as soon as that Overlord completes, you will see 13 over, I believe, 18 food, as that's how much larva he should be able to have in just a moment. That pylon now warping in, we should be getting a gateway followed by a cybernetics core, and that will allow, and that will complete that wall in there, allowing only units to come in and out at a single file line. So back here, DarkForce just continuing to train up more units, and we'll see whether he goes for a hatchery first or an extractor and spawning pool. Both options are viable, as we now see the probe of Socke moving around the map looking for that base. It looks like the extractor is already up, so a spawning pool most likely will be next. And after that, we will have metabolic boosted links. So in comes that spawning pool. The probe needs to run all the way into that backside, and then Socke just wandering back and forth right in this location, making sure to block off any drones that try to grow up and be a hatchery. But the extractor is already up, harvesting gas, and now that spawning pool is about to be completed as well, just needing about another 30 seconds or so, halfway. I guess not about to be completed, but getting awfully close. Probe still wandering around down over here. It looks like he is going to try to make his way up that ramp now, realizing that most likely the spawning pool is already up. In addition to that extractor, DarkForce getting very close to about 100 gas. As soon as he gets 100 gas, he may decide to pull drones off of gas in order to get higher and higher mineral count. And there you go, getting up to that 100 gas point. Is he going to pull it away? It looks like he wanted to pull it away. Yeah, he's going to pull it away and lose that green-blue ball, dropping it for minerals instead. Back here, we still have that probe wandering back and forth. The cybernetics core, it has been placed down here. The zealot going to sit off in that position, as a zealot will be trained up in just a moment. There is also a pylon here. The reason why for this, and the reason for this additional pylon, is to make it more difficult, so you cannot use the hold position in order to move an enemy unit that has also held position as well. Cybernetics core now upgrading that warp gate research. Also, it gives a little bit more room for that zealot, and also sentries can be trained and rallied over here. In comes this hatchery by DarkForce. DarkForce finally setting it up at about the 4-minute mark. A second queen now being trained. So DarkForce does not have that many Zerglings out in the field, perhaps 2 at most. One activating the Zelnaga Watchtower, another activating the Zelnaga Watchtower. Oh, so it's 4 in total. Trying to go after some probes and deal some damage. The drone will be able to return home, as 2 Zerglings is trying to take down this probe. So as one Zergling hits, the other will be able to pass it, and perhaps they will actually be able to get enough damage onto the probe before it's able to regenerate any of those shields. So now down to zero shields. Now going to continue to get pecked apart. They're down to 15 hit points. It looks like that probe will be able to at least get inside, see the inside of the base, as that probe turned the corner, and also the metabolic boosted research completed. The Zerglings were able to take that down with relative ease. Queen now making its way over to that low ground expansion. It will be able to start spawning larva the instant that hatchery is completed. And we also have a creep tumor now laid down, so DarkForce will have a creep highway linking these 2 bases. Drones also being transferred over as well, which will help out in the long run. DarkForce needs to get some additional larva. He needs the power drone, get a stronger economy going, and get a larger army as well. There is a Zergling still wandering around on the inside and getting plenty of sight and scouting information, and looks at the Zergling trying to just continue to harass inside here. In comes a force field. The Zergling unable to back off and now get taken down as well. There is this nexus, which is spotted by DarkForce, so DarkForce able to spot this location here. Sentries cannot see this Overlord though. The Overlord is hiding out on the high ledge, and for some reason, and just because it's hiding on the high ledge, I know even though it looks like line of sight, you would be able to see a flying unit. No, that Overlord is not spotted, even though in normal sight and view it would be. Okay, enough with the bad jokes. Creep tumors now being laid down. We are teching the tier 2, getting the second extractor up. We should be getting the glial reconstitution, the movement speed upgrade on those roaches, and then perhaps a Hydralisk Den as well. Extractor now being placed down once again, so DarkForce looking to go into a more gas-heavy army, which does bode well for Roach Hydra play. Roaches only take 25 gas, Hydralisks take 50 gas, and then any additional minerals you have, you can still dump into Zerglings if you have enough production. Hatchery still will be completed, the tier 2 in just a moment. There it is, and we are getting an evolution chamber. Maybe the level 1 missile upgrades attack will be researched, as that should help increase the damage on that Roach Hydra army. And now also going for Burrow, so Burrow now being researched before the glial reconstitution, so it's going to be try to play whack-a-mole against these roaches. Those roaches now moving out to try to establish and clear out the third base. These destructible rocks will fall with relative ease just because these roaches attack slowly but for a higher rate of damage. So they are able to clear it and clear out these rocks, I believe, actually faster than Zealots. I'd have to double check that for you. Even though roaches have a slower attack rate, because they don't do double slashes, I believe they actually deal a little bit more damage. I could be mistaken. I'll have to double check that. But the roaches able to quickly clear out those rocks. Another hatchery should be placed down there in just a moment, as the glial reconstitution and now Burrow about to be completed. Glial reconstitution having another 70 seconds or so, and a lot of sentries with one Zealot. So mass sentries with the Zealot. We are getting the Zerg missile attack upgrades, so those roaches are going to be able to deal 18 damage per attack instead of 16, which is, I believe, a 15% increase in damage, or 15% or 13% increase in damage, which also helps out significantly on those roaches. Roaches now moving out. We also have some creep tumors being laid down as well, so those creep tumors are going to slowly push their way out into the rest of the field here, and now allow for a faster movement speed. Roaches with a movement speed of almost 4 on creep. About 25% or 33% faster than Stalkers. So, and they're able to catch up to Stalkers very, very easily. Stalkers need Stalker Blink in order to escape. These destructible rocks will get taken down with a relatively large size army, as a Spire now being introduced as well. So roaches and Zerglings just continuing to wander around. There is one observer in the air. This hatchery is about 33% done now, as these units are continuing to just be macroed up by both sides. Socke opting to go for more of a robotics bay, trying to get Colossus. So it's going to be 4 gate with Colossus, and now getting that robotics bay. So 4 gate, 5 gate with a robotics bay. The Colossus should help out tremendously, and I don't know if ATN DarkForce knows about the Colossus yet. He is getting a Spire, so we'll see if he goes for Corruptors. If he goes for Corruptors, that would just be an obvious indication that he is expecting Colossi to come in from his opponent. If you can force your opponent to get a lot of Corruptors, and then not train up any additional Colossi, and then just go for a mass Stalker Sentry Immortal army, you will win out on that battle. But no, instead going for Mutalisks. So mass Mutalisks now being trained, and those Mutalisks are going to have a very difficult time, especially against the mass Sentry army. Those Guardian Shields going to reduce the amount of chain damage from those glaive worms significantly. Zerglings now trying to test the waters, trying to see if they can push out. It doesn't look like they will be able to or be successful at all, but there are a lot of Mutalisks in the air. More extractors need to be laid down in order to get an even larger gas army, or a larger gas count, because those Mutalisks only are successful when they are into the 18 to 24 range. Then the sheer damage output on a tightly packed group of Mutalisks is second to none. Zerglings now trying to come in, and now the Zerglings are going to be able to do a quick swarm there, and the Mutalisks now pushing in as well. Zerglings able to push through, and one force field was not placed down right there. The Mutalisks are backing off for just a moment, trying to see if they can get any more damage. Zerglings now coming in and now trying to pick off these units. Once again, the force fields are a little bit out of position. The Roaches are now trying to get in more damage. The Mutalisks are continuing to just put a lot of pressure. The Immortals and Zerglings just Immortals falling to Zerglings. Stalkers now in full retreat as well. So these 11 Mutalisks, DarkForce now continuing to just pump out more and more Mutalisks, catching Socke completely off guard. It looks like he's going for robotics. He was trying to go for the extended thermal lance range, and just got completely sideswiped by an army of Mutalisks. So those Mutalisks catching Socke completely off guard, And that is how you play Zerg, folks. Doing a very, very great job, saving up a lot of gas, and then as soon as that one spire is done, being able to train up 11 Mutalisks in 30 seconds, essentially about 16 to 24 in a minute and a half, and no other race has that potential in order to just completely catch your opponent off guard with a nice tech switch. Good game there here on Lost, or good game here on Lost Temple between DarkForce and Socke. Stay tuned for game 2.